thank you. Look at this picture. This is a picture from 1910. Looks like everyone's on top of the world, doesn't it? Betty here, she's just got a new job as general manager of the Five and Dime. Harry, he just won a $50 bonus for selling the most seeds. And Larry there in the back, doesn't look like it right now, but he thinks he's getting lucky tonight. This whole group, just top of the world, looked like they had the world by the ass and nothing but good days ahead of them. But here's what that picture looks like now. They're all gone. Take a picture of this room right now, come back 50 or 75 years. And that's going to be the way it is for us too. We're just passing through. So what are you going to do with the time you have left? I remember when I was a kid, summer seemed like they ran forever. Now it seems like Labor Day is the day after Memorial Day. And I'm 59 years old. How in the hell did that ever happen? You know, time has just gone by. And it just keeps going by faster and faster. So I'm always thinking about, so what does that mean? What am I going to do with what I have left? James Dean had a great quote, one that's kind of become my mantra. His quote was, dream as if you're going to live forever and live as if you're going to die tomorrow. Well, unfortunately for James, that happened, but think about that. In that quote, there's two really statements that are made. One is the optimism about dreaming as if you can live forever. The other is the realism about living for today. And I think we as a society are not very good at that. We tend to try to live for the moment, but we're always thinking ahead and our minds get confused, and it's a really difficult thing to do. And you might ask yourself, well, why does this guy have the responsibility or even the authority or credibility to talk to you about this today? Well, I don't know about you, but once you're out in the world, you get kicked around a little bit. Things happen. I know there's a lot of young Turks out here in this audience. You probably don't think that's happening to you, but it happens. And it happened to me back in 1991. After a routine procedure, a doctor perforated my esophagus. I went into the hospital at 5 in the morning, 31 hours after this had happened. They gave me 3 hours to live. The last thing I remember is a priest with a white collar looking over me, giving me the last rites. That's where I thought my life ended. Somehow, through a miracle, I survived. So what did I learn from that? I learned, number one, I'm not immortal. Number two, bad things happen to people. They don't just happen to other people. And number three, I hadn't even really been doing anything risky at that time, and still I almost died. So why not take risks? So I did. And right now I'm on my 7th company. I've got my 8th in development, and I hope to have 9 or 10 before I go to that big place in the sky. And then one other thing happened, unexpected. Again, things happen to other people, right? In 2000, my wife and I lost our first child at birth, Faith Ann. And myself and a couple of friends, we wrote a song about her. It's called One More Day. And I'd just like you to listen to just a couple verses.
I'll never get to hold you. I'll never hear your sweet voice sing. I'll never get to say I told you so. I'll never read to you or get to teach you anything. But you'll always be my hope. You'll always be my first light. You're always gonna be daddy's little girl. You'll always be the strength I need to make it in this world. I only wish for one more day. first day of school. I'll never see you turn that page. And I'll never see you in your graduation gown. And I'm never gonna see you coming of age. But you'll always be my hope. You'll always be my first light. You're always gonna be mommy's little girl. You'll always be the strength I need.
So the song's called One More Day. I don't know about you in the audience, but I can only imagine if you've lost your mother or your father or a good friend who's not with you right now, what you wouldn't give for one more day. What you wouldn't give to have that time back. Or maybe it's something in the past, a decision you made that you wish you could change, just to get that time back. And that's really a lot about what this is. It's about living life with few regrets. My mom and dad, well, first of all, I'm lucky now because I've got my family here. The sun shined again, and I have my wife and my 2 girls. And I also have my mom and dad. They're 90 and 92. Aren't they cute? They're 90 and 92 years old, living on their own. It's unbelievable. I was up fishing with my dad this fall. It was October in Wisconsin, beautiful weather. And we're going across the lake, and I saw my dad struggling up front. He's got, eyesight issues, everything, and sharp as a tack. And I looked at him, and we stopped the boat, and he said to me, he goes, "Gus," he always called me Gus. He goes, "Gus, can you help me out?" And I'm like, "Sure, Dad, what do you need?" He goes, "I can't get the bait on my hook." And I saw him struggling. He was trying to get his line through and everything. And at that point, I just started, he couldn't see me because he can't see very well, but I started crying. Because here it was. This is my strong dad, the guy that always drove the boat, the guy that always took care of the anchor, the guy that always put the bait on my hook. Now I was doing for him what he could no longer do. And the time was passing. But I'll never forget that moment. I won't regret it. And I think a lot of what I'm talking about today is with the time you have left, you're going to have regrets. We all have regrets in life. Just don't have too many. I think a great case study on this is a reporter once asked Steve Jobs. He goes, "Steve, what's your biggest regret in your life?" And the reporter expected him to say something like, "Oh, I wish I would have invented this, or that, this." And Steve said, "My biggest regret in life is I didn't ask the girl on the other side of the room to dance. I didn't ask the girl on the other side of the room to dance." That was his regret. So what are your regrets? Is it a book you haven't written? Is it the trip you didn't take with your mom to Chicago? Is it the fishing trip with your dad you didn't take? Is it the girl across the room that you never asked to dance? So think about that. Think about life and the regrets. Well, I think you need to have context when you're thinking about how am I going to think about my life and how do I spend the rest of the time I have here, no matter how much that is. I think there's 3 key areas. One is, what are my relationships? Second is, what is my purpose? And third are, what are my dreams? So let's start with relationships. First of all, there's a couple questions I'd ask. How are you getting along with the people that matter most? Your spouse, your family, your friends, your business associates, the parking lot attendant. How are you showing up in their lives? Secondly, what kind of resentments are you still carrying around? Resentment's like the poison of life. And most of you are probably sitting there blaming someone else for something you feel that you've been aggrieved for. You know what? You're probably half guilty yourself. Let it go. Just like that Disney song, let it go. Life's too short for that. And so I've come up with this theory on relationships. I call it the circle of 25. And I believe this to really be true. I just did an audit of my accounts, my LinkedIn, my email, and my terrestrial physical addresses. Came up to over 1,500 contacts. I checked with my mom and dad. Dad's 63. 49 phone numbers, 4 email addresses, myself and my 3 siblings, which they never use. And then I asked Dad, I said, well, how many of those 63 are still alive? 19. Okay? And I'm sitting on like 1,500, 2,500. So we have no more time in our world than our parents did. We have exponential number of relationships. So how do you manage that? Well, I call it the circle of 25. And that is the earlier in your life that you can figure out who these people are, the better. And these are the people, you never miss their bar mitzvah, you never miss their funerals, never miss the graduations, their big birthdays. You're the one planning them. And when they get in trouble, you're the one that's there. This is your community. This is your village. But who's in it? Then there's this other group, friends and associates. These are all the people that, for whatever reason, sometime in their life, they mattered to you. You had an intersection that mattered. And you don't want to lose contact with them. You just don't have enough time to really be in the relationship. And the last is to let go. Some people you just need to let go of. Don't feel guilty about it. You cannot manage that relationship like you should or would want to. And besides, some of them are probably jerks. They're probably taking energy out of your life. So don't mess with them. So that's my circle of 25. Now I want to go one deeper. This is what I call the 5 chairs. So that's you, sitting in that chair right there. There's 5 other ones around you. Who are in those 5 chairs? Think about it. Tonight when you go home, go through the contacts on your phone, go through your LinkedIn or whatever. Who are those 5 people? And the sooner you know who they are, the deeper the relationship you can have and the better your relationships are going to be through life. And science, research has shown, friendships tend to lead to happier lives, longer lives, more fulfilling lives. I know who my 5 are there. So when you're there having that scotch and a cigar, when you're 84, 94, 104, that matters. Find out who they are now. Maya Angelou had a great statement. She said, people will not remember you for what you did or what you said, but they'll remember you for how you made them feel. So just make sure with that circle of 25 and your 5 chairs that you're making those people feel good. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring up dogs. And I'll only do this for a second. This is our dog, Darby. We lost her at 14 and a half years last year. Devastated our family. And the reason I bring up dogs is they say animals don't have a soul. I disagree. At least I know that's not true for dogs. And you know what dogs teach you? They teach you loyalty. They teach you that every day is a good day, and they're going to put on a positive face. It's unconditional love. And most of all, what they teach you is they live in the moment. I can guarantee you, when I had the tennis ball, or my wife had the tennis ball with this dog, that dog wasn't thinking about anything else. They live in the moment. And we need to learn how to do more of that. So dogs are great people to teach us things. So purpose. So what's all about, Alfie? What are we here for? What matters? What do we want to leave behind? I was with a good friend of mine who's one of the 5 chair guys. And we were at the campfire some years ago, probably a little too much vino, and talking about philosophy and life and everything. And I said, Jeff, what is it? What is it that really matters for you in life? And he said, you know, Mark, I just want to be a good dad. He just responded right away. And that has stuck with me forever. I just want to be a good dad. So what is it that you want to do? Do you want to hopefully be a good dad or mom? if you have kids. But what are some other things you might want to do? Do you want to be the person that writes the next software that makes life on this earth better, or writes the music that people connect to, or figures out the cure for cancer, or whatever? You know, figure it out what that purpose is. I ran into a good friend of mine this week, and she and I had this conversation. We ended up talking about time and philosophy. And she said, you know, Mark, I think every one of us is on this earth. We have been given a purpose. It's our job to figure out what that is and then let the rest of the world know. And I really believe that. I got this from my daughter not too long ago. It was a trip I wasn't unable to be on. That's what showed up on my phone. You know what? I want to be a good dad. That made me feel good about not only my relationship, but maybe I was trying to be a good dad too. And how about your dreams? Remember when you were a kid, everything seemed possible. Nothing shut you down. Then you get out in the world, you got kicked around a little bit. And things get pushed down, and you reevaluate them, you make them smaller, everything. Well, I think, kind of get back to when you're a kid. You got to start thinking like you're a kid again, because, you know, we remember now, today, more than any time in history, we are going to live longer than any other generation. We're going to have more time off. Obviously, we have more friends. So you need to get that spirit back of being a kid. And one of the things I want to tell you about that is so important, and don't take it for granted, everyone in this room, we are the luckiest people in the world when it comes to our dreams, because we're born in the United States of America. There is nothing that has happened in our lives better than that. And I'm sorry, Donald, if you want to make America great again, I think it's still a pretty great country. And it's the place where I've seen my dreams come true, and I know your dreams can come true too. So, just in summary, my relationships. Simply, who am I going to exist with, and what's that going to be like? My purpose, what am I going to leave behind? And my dreams, what makes me feel alive every day? These are my relationships that matter. I know who the people are there. Tonight, try to figure out who those people are in your 5 chairs. My purpose, dog helped me figure it out. And you know what? If you still have dreams where the cow jumps over the moon, remember Emmy and Allie when I used to tell you Tuesday night at 7 o'clock I'd jump over the moon? Remember that? Well, they believed me. You always got the time wrong, but I always told them that Tuesday at 7 I could jump over the moon. You can still do that. So, in summary, time is all we have. It's important. How you spend your time is more important than ever. Be deliberate. Be purposeful. And here's just my closing statement. That's not how long you live. We don't have a lot of control over that. But rather how long you're alive. So what are you going to do with the time you have left? Thank you.